Lucas was stuck on his project. It was, as he put it, a concept in search of a story. He had spent a great deal of time coming up with places and people and things, fantastic concepts and ideas about stuff that would capture the imagination of the audience, swashbuckling like pirate films, the dusty frontier like the Old West, even the daring of old World War II films. Great ideas with all kinds of ways that he could knit them together. The only thing he didn't have was something to actually give them some context, a story that would make them mean something. Given the long period of time, the number of people involved, and the influence that Star Wars has had, there are many contradictory accounts of its development, and it's difficult to determine what is true and what is hearsay, misremembering, or rewriting of the past, a problem that Lucas himself has contributed to with his contradictory remarks about Star Wars history. It is frequently presented as if Lucas read through the works of Joseph Campbell and from that sprung the concept of what Star Wars was, a modern myth telling the growth of a boy into a legend in a morality play of good versus evil. This could not be further from the truth. Lucas's first attempt to create his unnamed science fiction project was a treatment that described a two-part story. The first part was the training of a Padawan in the ways of the Jedi Bindu under Master Mace Windu, and the second part, after the training was complete, discussing their great mission. Lucas took the treatment to his agent, who felt that this was completely incomprehensible, and this was someone that Lucas had discussed this project with frequently. American Graffiti had drawn upon Lucas's own life, but composing something completely out of whole cloth like this was proving beyond him. He knew the kind of film he wanted, but he had no idea how to tell it yet. Like many members of the New Hollywood, Lucas was a great admirer of Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa, a filmmaker who, much like Lucas himself, actually fancied himself more of an editor than anything else. He had in fact joked once that the only reason he made films was so that he could have something to edit. Yet all joking aside, he was a great inspiration to many filmmakers of Lucas's generation, and so Lucas thought the best place to start would be with a plot drawn from one of Kurosawa's greatest classics, The Hidden Fortress. If you have not seen the film, it's the tale of two selfish, clueless jerks who eventually find themselves joining what they don't realize is a princess in hiding and her greatest general, planning to return her to her homeland so that she can rebuild it for her people. The original Star Wars was actually very, very different from where we would wind up. It was the tale of two bureaucrats who escaped an attack on a space station, only to be captured by General Skywalker, an aged man disguised as a farmer who was trying to bring the disguised princess to a safe planet. A great deal of it is about that journey, having to cross a wasteland in the hopes of getting a ship to escape, and in the end would crash land on Yavin, a planet full of Wookiees, and after convincing them that he must be a god because he has these incredible combat abilities, they aid him in breaking the princess out of an imperial prison and return her to her throne. The similarities in the treatment were so great that Lucas was considering buying the rights to The Hidden Fortress and just treat this as a full remake, the same way that The Seven Samurai became The Magnificent Seven. This was just a starting point, though, and while Lucas is happy to discuss the great influence that The Hidden Fortress had on his film, the end result would leave few direct signs of this influence. Otherwise, Lucas would have bought the rights. Besides it being the right thing to do, a lawsuit over an unauthorized remake of Yojimbo into A Fistful of Dollars had delayed that movie's release by years. By the time the finished film was made, the only two similarities that are really prominent is the presence of two characters who are along for the ride and the editing that would be used, especially the use of wipes. But otherwise, over the course of development, the differences between The Hidden Fortress and the Star Wars grew larger and larger until the similarities were few and far between. But this meeting with the mentor cannot be discounted because it did provide the initial foundation which allowed Lucas to find what it was he was really trying to say. So in that sense, The Hidden Fortress was an invaluable contribution to Star Wars. And also, by allowing Lucas to finally have a plan of what his film would be, He could now try to show others what that vision was, so that perhaps this time they could understand what his film was supposed to be about.